Mr. Kirogo was indeed a very rare example of a solid public servant. There's no school in this world that trains people to be ministers. So people are appointed to the cabinet from all walks of life. They arrive there with all their ignorances and all their inexperiences. The first people they meet, like in our case, was Mr. Kimemia, the head of public service then, and Mr. Kirogo, who would train you and mold you to know how to prepare a cabinet memo and how to move things around in cabinet. The tyranny that is the machine that manages the public service is something that a lot of people do not understand. And I will eternally pay tribute to the men and women who serve us in the public service, led by our head of public service, Mr. Kinyua, and the rest of these wonderful people who are seated here, the commissioners and the public servants. I was just remembering when we were talking about Mr. Kirogo here that for the entire 8.5 years I've served in cabinet, I've worked closely with Mr. Kirogo, and there hasn't been a single time when we were required by the president to be somewhere, whether it was 6 in the morning, and in most cases we left and left them behind. Usually the hard-working people you leave behind, like Mr. Kirogo, Madam Ruth Kagia, who seated there, Charles Bambiuki and Wanjiku Wakogi, and all these people work so hard, Mr. Kinyua and so on, who spend so much time making sure that the machine, the engine that runs this country actually happens, that the decisions that have got to be made tomorrow will be made. He has raised a standard in public service. It is now upon us, those who remain in the public service and who continue to serve, to not only emulate his good example, but to walk in his shadow and live the wonderful things that he taught us. On behalf of His Excellency the President and on behalf of my colleagues from Cabinet, I am here to tell you, Mr. Kirogo, and to reiterate the words of our Head of Public Service, that we stand with you. For all of us who work in the public service, this is the truth. We spend more time with each other than sometimes we spend time with our families. So actually we are a foremost family to Mr. Kirogo because he spent a lot of time with us, sometimes probably more time with us than he spent with his own family.